Hello and welcome to this week's assembly. And in our assemblies at Pashley, we always look at one of our amazing values. And last time I talked to you about Honesty Otter. But this week we are going to look again at our very special equality elephant. Now you might have noticed we've done quite a few assemblies on our elephant at the moment, our equality elephant. And that's because it's become very apparent in the world that we're living in that things are still not equal and people are not always treating each other with equality. Some of you might remember there was a movement called the Black Lives Matter. Some of you might have also heard in the news about women campaigning for their rights recently. And it's become very aware to us that globally, nationally and locally, it's something that we all need to work on. So we're keeping it as a high focus at Pashley. I'm going to take you back a few weeks. I wonder if anyone remembers getting one of these from Pashley just before the Easter holidays. Put your hand up if you remember being given an Easter egg. That's right. I thought I would see all your hands up because, do you know, every single child at Pashley got given an Easter egg. And it didn't matter if they were in school that day. If they weren't, we made sure we wrote their names, so they still got one. We treated everyone equally. But do you know, just before Easter, I went to Mrs. Godding and I said, I think we've got it a bit wrong, Mrs. Godding. I'm not sure everyone should be getting an Easter egg, because do you know what I saw today? Today, I was walking down the corridor and I saw a girl who had lovely long brown hair and she was skipping down the corridor. And we don't skip down the corridor, we know we all walk down the corridor. Now I know, because she's a girl and I'm a girl, that probably wasn't the issue because I make good choices. But I'm not sure about brown hair. See, my hair's blonde. Maybe doesn't look it at the moment in this video because my colour's a bit strange on my video setting. But my hair's blonde and her hair's brown. And I thought, I bet you anything that all the children with brown hair are not necessarily walking down the corridor. So I think all children with brown hair shouldn't get their Easter egg. The next day, I went to Mrs. Godding again because, do you know, I saw something else. I was walking round the corridors and I was looking in the classrooms to see how the learning was getting on. And I saw two boys having a little whisper. The teacher was talking and they were having a little whisper to each other. And I thought, I'm not sure these boys should get an Easter egg. And do you know, if I've seen those two boys talking, that probably means all the boys at Pashley are possibly sometimes talking when the teacher's talking. And that's not good, is it? So I went to Mrs. Godding again and said, Mrs. Godding, I've had another thought. Not only do I think all children with brown hair shouldn't get an Easter egg, I'm also not sure about these boys. I'm thinking maybe the boys shouldn't get an Easter egg. I'm not convinced that they're all doing the right thing because, you know, I saw two boys who weren't doing the right thing, and therefore I think maybe all the boys are not doing the right thing. So perhaps we should just give them to girls who don't have brown hair. Maybe just that group, because I've not seen any of them do something that I'm not sure about. And then the next day, I went in the playground and I was chatting to some of the children in the playground. And we were having a bit of a debate about what was the best game. Was the best game to play outside it? Or was the best game to play outside stuck in the mud? And, you know, we didn't all agree. People had different opinions about which game was better to play. But, you know, I'm pretty sure that my opinion is the right opinion. And therefore, everyone else's opinion is wrong. And I'm pretty certain that Stuck in the Mud was my favourite game when I was at school. So therefore, I think everybody should like Stuck in the Mud best. So I went to Mrs. Godding again. I said, Mrs. Godding, we have a problem. Not only children with brown hair, a bit of an issue, and not only are boys probably an issue because I saw two of them talking. There's this whole group of children that actually think playing it is better than playing Stuck in the Mud. And that can't be right because my opinion is Stuck in the Mud is better. And therefore, any child that thinks playing it is better, I don't think we should give them an Easter egg. What do you think? Now, luckily, Mrs. Godding knew that I was being completely ridiculous because just because somebody may look different to me and just because I might have seen two children behaving in a certain way that wasn't right, didn't mean all of them were. And just because people had a different opinion to me didn't mean their opinion was wrong and mine was right. We're all allowed to have different opinions, and we all look very different. And we shouldn't generalize if one person's behaving in one way and assume everyone else is behaving in the same way. So luckily, Mrs. Godding said, now, Mrs. Everson, you are being ridiculous. And you are not showing us that you understand the value of the equality elephant. Because at Pashley, we treat everyone equally. And all those children that you saw or had a different opinion to you, that is okay, because we're going to treat them all equally. And so everybody got their Easter egg. So we need to think about that. Think about it's okay if people look different to us, and it's okay if people have different opinions to us. We still treat them the same. And I found a story about someone else that had a bit of a problem with this. A boy that had problems treating everybody equally, and he had to learn about sharing as well. And this story is called This Is Our House. Let's have a little listen. George was in the house. This house is mine and no one else is coming in, George says. It's not your house, George, said Liddy. It belongs to everybody. No, it doesn't, said George. This house is all for me. Not sharing his house very well, is he? Lindy and Marley went for a walk over to the swings. It's not George's house, is it? Said Lindy. Of course it isn't, said Marley. Lindy and Marley looked through the windows. It's not your house, George, and we're coming in. No, you're not, said George. This house isn't for girls. Freddie was walking past with his Rabbity. I've come to put Rabbity to bed, said Freddie. You can't, said George. This house isn't for small people like you. Not letting girls in, not letting small people in. Freddie took Rabbity for a ride in the car. Charlene and Marlene mended the front wheel. George won't let me and Rabbity in the house, said Freddie. Charlene and Marlene, Freddie and Rabbity headed straight for the house. Stop right there, said George. We're coming in to mend the fridge, said Charlene and Marlene. Oh, no, you're not, said George. This house isn't for twins. Not sharing with girls, not sharing with small people, not sharing with twins. No? Luther's jumbo jet landed in the house. He went to fetch it. Where do you think you're going? Said George. Flight 505 has crashed, said Luther, and I'm coming in for the rescue. Fire, fire, Nino, Nino. You're not coming in here, said George. Luther radioed for help. Calling Dr. Sophie, calling Dr. Sophie. Can I help you? Said Sophie. We can't get the plane, Doctor, said Luther. Leave it to me, said Sophie. Sophie and Luther pushed past the crowds. Make way for the doctor, said Luther. We're coming in, said Sophie. Oh, no, you're not, said George. This house isn't for people with glasses. Rashida had a plan. I'm going to tunnel in. She poked her head under the house. Go away, said George. This is my house. Well, this is my tunnel, said Rashida. Well, tunnel somewhere else, said George. This house isn't for people who like tunnels. It was getting quite noisy around the house now and hot, and George wanted to go to the toilet. I'm going to leave my house now, said George, and no one can go in it while I'm gone. George went to the toilet. What do you think's going to happen next? See if you can tell your learning partner what do you think's going to happen when George goes off to the toilet. Not let all those people in. Judge them for being twins or wearing glasses or being a girl or having an opinion of liking tunnels. What do you think's going to happen? Let's see, shall we? Let's see if you were right. Lindy, Marley, Freddie, Rabbity, Marlene, Charlene, Luther, Sophie and Rashida went straight into the house. Let me see with your thumbs. Did you predict right? Or not right? Well, I thought most of you might guess what was going to happen next. George came back. There was no room for George. This house isn't for people with red hair, said Charlene. They're now doing the same to George as he did to them, finding a reason to exclude him because the way that he looks. Wonder how George is going to feel about this. George began to shout. George began to cry. George began to stamp his feet and kick the wall. Then he stopped. He looked. I wonder what he's thinking. Let's see. This house is for people with red hair, said George, and for girls, and small people, and twins, and people who wear glasses and like tunnels. Because, shouted Lindy, Marley, Freddie, Marlene, Charlie, Luther, Sophie, and Rashida, this house is for everyone. Excellent. So George learnt in that story that actually it wasn't very nice when he felt like he wasn't being treated equally. He then understood how it felt for everyone else when he hadn't been treating them equally and thinking of our lovely value of being an equality elephant. So your challenge this week is to make sure that you're treating everyone equally and showing this amazing value. Okay, we've got that very important time because lots of you have been spotted this week showing all our passion values. And I'm going to be announcing which class each value is going to, but not naming the person. So I wonder whether it's you. Your teachers will let you know later. So this week, our kindness koalas are going to Owl's class and Hedgehog's class. Put your hand up if you're in Owl class and Hedgehog class and you think it could be you. You think you showed this value this week. Teacher will let you know in a little bit. Our Perseverance penguin is going to Rabbit's class. Put your hand up in Rabbit's class if you think you've shown this value this week. You've persevered and tried hard with something because it could be you. Your teacher will let you know. Our Positive Panda, going to 2 classes this week. 2 people have been spotted being Positive Pandas. And our Positive Pandas are going to Squirrels and Woodpeckers. Put your hand up if you think it's you. If you've been really positive this week. Maybe shared some positive news, modeled positivity in your classroom. Teacher will let you know. Oh, our Responsible Rhino. Lots of responsible rhinos. But there's just one person that's been awarded as a responsible rhino this week, and they are in Badger's class. Put your hand up if you think it's you. Just one of you. The teacher will let you know. Oh, I did this value last time I talked. We talked about the Honesty Otter. And our Honesty Otter this week is going to Fox's class. Put your hand up if you think you have been very honest this week, always telling the truth, modelling being honest to everyone else. Well, it could be you. Your teachers will let you know. And our Resilience raccoon, very similar to Perseverance, but the difference is making sure that you're keeping going and staying positive while doing it. So who thinks they've been a Resilience raccoon in Mole's class? Put your hand up if you think you've kept persevering with something and staying positive about it, because it could be you. The teacher will let you know. And our last one, our very important one that we have done this week, I'm very proud to say that someone in Robin's class has showed this value this week. So put your hand up in Robin's class if you think you have shown that you've been an equality elephant. Well, it could be you. Your teachers will let you know. So well done for listening to this week's assembly. And I look forward to seeing who's going to get our values next time. Okay. Bye.